Okay, as you can see from the title, I'm talking about this subject. Why? Because nobody else probably is brave enough or talks about this subject. But I want to talk about sex in comic books. I want to get your feedback and stuff like that. Now, of course, I'm going to be mature about this, and we're all mature adults on here, for the most part. But anyway, I've noticed that in European comics, they pretty much let body parts be exposed in their comic books, whereas in American comic books, you can have all this violence and, people getting chopped in half and, stuff like that. But I just found it weird that, why don't they show the, more, I don't know, some more skin in comic books? Like, they can show a character getting chopped in half, stuff like that, and, ripping somebody apart and all this other crap, but they won't show sex. And for me, I don't know, I just find that kind of offensive. It's like, you're going to show violence, you might as well show sex too in the comic books. I'm not saying it has to be like a porn or anything, just straight up show every little detail, but I'm just saying they can show a little bit more, because it just seems like, when they put these characters in these sexual situations, they're just like, oh, we can't show this, we can't do this, but with the violence, go all out. I just find that weird. But what do you people's thoughts on sexuality and stuff like that in comic books? And it doesn't have to be superhero comic books. It can be anything. I'm just using these pictures as examples of things that really stand out to me, as far as like sexual situations in comic books. Like, I don't know. It just seems like the standards are just really all over the place. Not the standards, but the priorities. It's like, we can do one thing to the extreme, but we can't do another thing at all. I am happy that they do, like in the modern day stuff, they do acknowledge that characters do in fact, have sex and stuff like that, but they don't really. They're still afraid of it. Like, oh, we can't do this and that, and I'm not saying that they should do this in like every comic book and stuff like that should show everything, but I'm just saying that maybe they can show a little bit more, because there's really nothing to be embarrassed about. I mean, you can always put the mature readers on there and stuff like that. And I guess this applies more to the indie comic books, because more than likely you probably won't see that type of stuff in a superhero comic book, and it doesn't have to be there. But I've noticed, like, even in like vertical titles, they have like extreme blood, but when it comes to a sexual situation, they kind of like tone it down. But there was this one comic book made a joke about a superhero. He was a Superman like character, and some chick was giving him a blowjob, and like he bursted, and his sperm went all the way up into the plane, and it blew it in half. I'm like, what the? It was. I forgot the name of that comic. It was drawn by Amanda Connor. Forget the name of it, but stuff like that. Really, I don't know what else to say. I tried to think about this as much as possible before I posted the video, but there's not much I can say about this subject without offending some people, without going into grave details and stuff like that. But I just think they should be allowed to show a little bit more as far as sexuality goes. It doesn't have to be in mainstream Marvel and DC. I'm more talking about those independent comics where they're just, I don't know. It's the same thing with cursing too. They just bleep out some words. Like, even in some vertical titles, like you can say shit and you can say bitch and stuff like that, but they're like, oh, they want, instead of saying instead of saying fuck, they'll say freak or something like that. It's just very strange to me that they, you know, can do certain things and they can't do other things. I find it weird, and I find it, I don't know, this is a little bit offensive to me personally. But I'm gonna stop this video here, because really, the more I say, the more I think I'm just gonna offend some people. So I'll stop the video right there, and I'm out. I would like some video responses for this one. That's it.